All right.
So we're looking at Eric Steele's next mission.
Yep.
So let's talk about it.
Okay.
So
all right.
how hard is it? So it's one thing to write about your life. That's
Yes.
hard. But at least it's you. At least it's like there is no wrong answer because it's your experience.
Yeah, fiction is really hard.
Yeah, now you're writing. Now you're making up a character that's based on a second tier football organization. How do you do that? And how do you succeed?
We're already starting off on the wrong foot here, but yes,
How do you succeed at that?
No, it's hard. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just, to me, like, you know, I think that you've got to, like, writing fiction is the hardest thing in the world. You know, it's an art form. You're creating worlds, you're creating characters with, you know, their own psychologies and motivations and physical abilities. And, you know, so it just was so hard. I mean, I've been conceptualizing Man of War, the first book, for years. In fact, like when I was writing Man of War, there were 4 or 5 iterations of that story that did not get picked up before the actual book itself was published.
So you've had to change it 4 times.
I mean, oh my gosh, not only change it, but start from scratch. Like the first Eric Steele mission was his special forces team getting wiped out in Afghanistan, you know, and it didn't work out. It wasn't the right fit for Eric Steele. So I had to, like, the first story I started.
I would have dug that though.
I know. You know, the thing is, I do like that story. I still have it written somewhere, and I'll probably be able to integrate it into subsequent stories. But like, you know, it is kind of cliche. Like every one of these major heroes, like they either lose a girlfriend or a family member, or they're the lone survivor on their special forces team or SEAL team, and like that's their motivation for becoming like this rogue operator, this singleton operator that saves the world.
Yeah.
That all happens for Eric Steele, but I start the first book after it's all happened. Okay. So I seed in the first book, like, you know, little by little, what happened with Eric Steele, what happened on the Special Forces team. His father went missing when he was 9 years old. What happened with his father? He grew up without his father. His father, I won't spoil it, but that subplot is something big. But writing fiction is really hard, man. It's you know, it's the hardest thing in the world.
What is the hardest part for you? I'll tell you, like, so I dabble in this as well, but I'm not there yet. So I'm not going to compare it all. But what's the hardest thing for you to write?
Okay, so I think that the hardest thing is plotting, you know? You know, for me, like coming up with characters that are real, like I love that stuff. I think the lifeblood of any story, whether you're watching Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, or whatever TV show or movie, it's all about the characters, you know? And so creating characters that are real and that are interesting. I mean, these characters in these books, they're like real people to me, you know? And so...
have to be, right?
Yeah, they have to be, and I think that's the most fun part, but
do you try to base them on other people so that it's easier to kind of fill in?
Yeah, sometimes, you know. I think what I try to do with these books, especially in the first book, was try to take archetypes of who we are as people and elevate them and exponentially elevate them and put them in characters so that they're interesting. The second book is a little bit different. It's more theme-based, but character development, character profiling, to me, is the most fun, but plotting is just so hard. I mean, it's just... every word of dialogue in a book, every word in a book, period, has to, especially in the thriller, has to move the plot forward in some way. It's just really easy when you're writing to just like kind of get lost. And it's like, and you have to ask yourself after the fact, like, is this pertinent to the plot or not? Does this move the plot forward? Every word has to inch things forward just a little bit. That's the hardest part. And so, like, you come up with a first draft and you find yourself, in the wake of Man of War and in this book, I had to cut a whole character. So what that meant is going back through every single chapter and making sure that character was removed, all the subplots were removed. Yeah, because it just wasn't pertinent to the plot.
Is that character coming back or no?
I think so. I think this character will come back in later books. But yeah.
For me, the hardest thing is writing women.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, so
I do such a.
Well, how about sex scenes? When you ever try to write a sex scene?
Not yet.
Men really struggle with writing sex scenes.
Yeah, because our sex scenes.
He grabbed her breast and it felt like a bag of sand. Like no. That's why almost every romance novel is written by a woman. Like that's because they get. And I've heard this from women romancers that women understand the emotional component to sex that men don't get. You know, and so. writing a sex scene is one of the hardest things in the world. There's a lesbian sex scene in Man of War.
Nice.
So I know. I had to really try to bring my A game.
I wasn't doing that because I was envisioning a lesbian sex
Yes, you
scene.
were.
I was doing
You
it because,
absolutely were.
because I was giving him props for being woke.
Yeah, I am woke. I am woke. I am woke. But also lesbians,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So read the book. You'll see what I mean.
What page is it on?
This book has no lesbians.
Man.
Are we going to be able to cut this out?
No, we're totally leaving that in.